toasting, joking too. Sipping and roasting is what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down. Whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Now that sounds like a party just about to happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza, known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. It's show number 494, which is a lot of shows and puts us almost...
That's about the halfway point to 500.
About halfway to 500. Good to know. All right, thank you for being...
I went to school in Liberty, Texas,
I appreciate that you're the math guy, because math was never my strong suit. So whatever you say, I'll just go, yes. Right. That sounds right to me. Welcome to the show. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And joining us on the show today, we are very excited to have Alex Svenson from Cigar Page. Alex.
I love that place.
First of all, I just want to point out that I don't know how much that desk cost that you're sitting at there, but I'm pretty sure I paid for that. I just want to mention, because I am such a regular customer of Cigar Page that let's just say I saw you guys were opening, your own retail store, which we'll talk about, your own brick and mortar store. But I was like, well, it's good to see my money's being put to good use, And it's I felt really good about the whole thing. Alex, welcome to the show. I have so many questions about Cigar Page and what you guys do and how in the heck you managed to land such a wonderful job. And so we'll get to all of that as the show rolls out. But we want to just first kind of set the stage. My name is Cruze. My partner is Ian Barry. We have Terry, our producer, on the Wheels of Steel. Alex from Cigar Page is our guest. And before we forget, by the way, we want to say a big thanks to last week's special guest, singer and songwriter Chuck Lee. Or is
Chuck
it Leah?
Yeah.
Leah is how you
Chuck
say his
Leah.
name.
L-E-A.
Such an interesting dude. It was fun talking whiskey and cigars with him. It was just, that was a fun
Beautiful
show.
music, too.
Hey, I like the way he was such a soft-spoken guy for having such powerful music.
Yeah, I know. He would be like, thank you, it's nice to be. It's like interviewing Michael Jackson, It's like, Michael, you're the best-selling artist of all time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
very powerful.
My pigment is fading.
You should know before we start that I have no musical talent whatsoever. So
well, that's okay, because we won't need to lean on you for that, because Ian has brought his ukulele. So we're in good. Anytime you have a ukulele on the show, that takes it to an extra dimension, and that's why we do it. On our program today, we're going to be talking, of course, about Cigar Page, one of the preeminent ways to order cigars online and soon in their own retail shop in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We'll get to that. We'll be
for any of you listening to the show for the first time or hearing of Cigar Page for the first time, I'm sorry for your wallet.
Yeah, that's right. Between you guys and Tavor, I am not a wealthy man. I'll just say, but I'm a happy man. So that's how it goes here. We are going to be tasting some beers on today's program from Porter, Texas, and the Back Pew Brewing Company. We'll be trying their brew called Eve's Envy. It's an apple ale. I haven't had an apple ale.
I haven't tried that. They make some great beers, though.
Yeah, so we're interested in that. And from Waunukee, Wisconsin, an Untitled Art Brewing Company, their Citra Velvet IPA on the show. And by the way, is Untitled Art Brewing shutting down? We will examine that. That may be happening. That's not
a scary thought.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good news. And finally, from Kansas City, Missouri, and the Boulevard Brewing Company, we'll be trying their quadruple ale called the Sixth Glass. Ooh. So we'll be looking forward to that. And a little rum on today's show from Costa Rica, Ron Centenario, 7 Provinces rum, and basically it takes its name from the fact that the juice comes from 7 different provinces in Costa Rica. I read an interesting fact about Costa Rica. It's a tiny, tiny landmass compared to a lot of other countries, but it has this enormous percentage, I don't remember the actual number, of the species that are alive on Earth. Like that's way out of ratio for the size of the. There's just so many like animals and plants and stuff that are kind of native to Costa Rica. So they also make some pretty decent rum there. We'll be trying some of that today. We have our normal features that we do on the program. The most popular of which, for reasons we don't fully understand, is drinking news. We'll bring that to you in the second half of the show. And we have a teaser headline for you, as we like to do for drinking news, to invite you to stay tuned until that segment. Our teaser headline for this week is. It's a scripture verse. If thy right hand offend thee, cut it off. There's your teaser headline for Drinking News. We also will bring you the Drunken Fact, which is something that's kind of fun to share if you're at a party. Everybody's getting a little loose and you want to come across like a person that knows things. This is a fact that, women love smart men. At parties, right? You're interesting. You're intriguing. Smart. Yeah. So we have a teaser headline for our Drunken Fact, which we'll share with you here in a few minutes. Our teaser headline is, "I hanker for a hunk of cheese." I knew I would make Terry laugh because he's our pop culture dude over here.
A heaping slice of hunka?
Yeah. Well, no, you remember that from Schoolhouse Rock, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you're under 30, Schoolhouse Rock is something you'll never understand, and you missed. You just missed it.
Yeah.
You just missed it, and I'm sorry.
That's how we learned.
Today, I am still just a bill. Things to talk about in the world. The Titans of Tobacco have raised big money for cigar rights because somebody needs to, and we might also talk about. I don't know if we might put our guest on the spot if we talk about this, because obviously at Cigar Page you're dealing with all these tobacco companies, and so you can tell me if you want. We could delay this topic until next week when you're not on the show and wouldn't be put in an awkward position. But a number of cigar experts in quotes, okay, are actually cigar lounge owners are the experts in this case. They have named the most overrated cigar. And so I don't know if it's. I would have to look to see if it's one you sell. I haven't bought this one from you, but again, we don't want to put you in an awkward position, so we can.
You could be describing any number of things that come to my mind right now,
this is what I was.
So
hoping,
let it fly, guys.
This is what I was hoping you would say. Also, want to point out that because we're in the studio and can't enjoy a cigar during today's show, we're quite jealous of watching you puffing on that one. What are you smoking?
I am actually smoking. This one is the Huayra Nicaragua, Ontario, Connecticut. I just did a video for our social media on the concept of a cigar's finish and pairing.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the topic for that. Though I do have a little assortment here from Huayra Nicaragua that I'm working my way through today.
Nice. I absolutely love it.
That Ontario, like that would go great with coffee.
Yep. I bet it looks like you have a coffee of sorts there. Yep, I thought so. Thank you. So one of the things we like to do in our first segment here is a little something where one of us brings in a beverage of some sort. Sometimes it's a seltzer or a wine or a beer, or maybe it's a canned cocktail. The only person who knows what it is before we taste it is the person what brung it. Today that would be me, and we call this the beverage of mystery, or as the sounder says...
The beverage of mystery.
That makes it sound dark and mysterious. I like that.
It does.
Yeah. So we poured out
I wish
today's...
I was Alex right now.
We poured out today's beverage of mystery. You wish you were Alex because you wouldn't be tasting
be here having
the
to
beverage
taste
of
the
mystery.
beverage of mystery.
Alex, just to let you in, more often than not
always.
We're not super happy with the beverage of mystery. That's one of the reasons it lands in this spot, I think, instead of being tasted otherwise. And Ian's sticking his finger in his, which I don't know if that makes it taste better.
Was there a little black speck in there? I don't know what that is.
My apologies then.
Hey, that's free with your purchase.
Yeah. That's right. That's just like I always talk about this.
I don't know if that was a feature of the cup or a feature of the beverage, but
I always it's like I always talk about. We're so close to Galveston, Texas, and the beaches there. It's an hour away, and I always say when you're down in Galveston and you're on the beach, any medical waste that washes up is yours to keep. So that's an important segment of the tourist industry in Galveston. Beverage of Mystery is. looking a little hazy
It's,
there.
it's
isn't it?
hoppy.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
It's hoppy?
It's very hoppy.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can
well,
smell the hops
taste
on the
it
nose.
And then see.
Oh, Terry, you've already tasted
Oh,
it?
I tasted it.
All
and-
right, you're the first one. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. If beer was watered down,
Yeah?
that's what this is.
Is
You know,
that-
this is
do you concur with it?
this is almost like if they took something, some water-like substance like Michelob Ultra,
Right, a water-like substance, yes.
and then added flavor to it.
Yeah.
like maybe a hop flavor.
So you're saying this is pretty thin
It's very
mouthfeel-wise.
bold.
Oh, it's incredibly thin mouthfeel.
It's very bold on the nose, and then when you drink it, you're just like, oh, that's like one of those waters that has a hint of beer flavor in it. It's like,
Well,
it's like
Now,
water
it's got
that
like
has
a medium carbonation. It's got a high,
Well,
like
Lagunitas,
kind of hoppy flavor to it. This is like almost like one of those, like Lagunitas made one of those hop water.
hop water.
things.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Like, I actually really like that. It's not alcoholic,
This-
but it's got a
This
good
has
taste
a
to it.
dankness to it that may border the line on THC as well.
And it is leaving a little bit of fruitiness on the finish
it
too.
leaves the mouth like astringently dry.
Now it's like
But
all beer-based, not Carcina sweet at all. It's all just.
I was
some
going to
sort
say
of-
because it doesn't have that artificial sweetener taste, it is maybe more palatable than many of the beverages of mystery that we've tried.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Because
yes.
that seems to ruin a lot of them. What do you think, Ian?
It's,
Is
it's
this-
not undrinkable,
is this
but I don't
something
know
you
if
would
I like it.
Terry has finished his.
No, I
after
mean
being,
I drink.
yeah.
It's drinkable. It's very drinkable. Actually crushable, but it's just like and maybe that's why it is. It's like a watery beer.
It does
to me.
have it. Like if you really search for it, it has a beer kind of base to it.
Yeah.
So
But it's a lot of hops.
it is
going on.
very
No, like
hoppy.
it's outrageously hoppy. This is as if they just took water and decided to add it to the hop wars.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
you do you have a question for me?
Is that a beverage of mystery in your pocket, or are you just happy to be here today?
Well, I'm so happy to be here, but it is also a beverage mystery in my pocket, and it is the Disarm Hazy IPA with Crush, Sabro, and Strata hops. It is a non-alcoholic beer from Go Brewing.
that starts
non-alcoholic.
making more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're looking for, and the whole non-alcoholic beer and spirits segment is growing like crazy right now. So it's why I thought we should
I don't
definitely be
understand
trying
that
some
fully,
things.
but it is
Well,
a huge thing now.
I can tell you
John
the-
Mulaney has his own.
I can tell you the one time when I think it would make sense. If you were going out with friends and you're the designated driver, or for whatever reason you don't want to drink alcohol that particular time, this way you can still enjoy like having a beer with your friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's
not
true.
and not worry about things like that. And by the way, I think almost all non-alcoholic beers may not be 100% non-alcoholic. But
No, I
it's
think
like
they have like
a tiny, yeah,
0.005%.
exactly.
You know,
Just got like
if
a
you drink
Less than
1,000 of them.
0.5%.
I'm just glad. I understand the reason for this, but I'm just glad that nobody has transferred this idea to the cigar industry, like a tobacco-less cigar. That would just, to me, that would
It's
just
just a vape.
defeat the
It's
whole,
just a vape.
the whole
just a vape.
purpose. So,
Well,
Ian,
but I think you miss an important possible one, which I enjoy in the non-alcoholic beverage area and arena, is when you can, not necessarily in the beer arena, but certainly in like the craft cocktail, where you can take some of those non-alcoholic cocktails and add alcohol to them.
oh, see that.
Yes.
then
Oh,
basically
that's a perfect idea.
They're mixers. I get it now. They're
They're
mixers.
basically just a
Okay.
mixer, right?
Alex,
Thank you,
These
Alex.
things have existed since I was in college. They're just kind of rebranding it.
Exactly.
Alex,
Amazing.
just
I love
so
it.
you know, we did a non-alcoholic beer blind taste test on the show one time, and since we had to have some sort of palate cleanser, we made sure we had beer with alcohol in it as
the palate cleanser, right? And that was actually my favorite part of the non-alcoholic beer blind taste test. So, all right, we got to take a break. It is Smoking and Toasting, show number 494. Our guest is Alex Svenson from Cigar Page, and we are definitely going to talk cigars and Cigar Page as this program unfolds. Plus, the Drunken Fact is coming up next. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. And admittedly, we do detour from those things every once in a while to talk about other things that we find important. An example of that is Nicolas Cage. Yeah, if Nicolas Cage has got something going on, we're likely going to talk about it because he is either a national treasure or one of the funniest things in the world, one of the two. We don't know really which.
So I wanted to go back to this Go Brewing Disarm Hazy IPA. There's a QR code on here. It says, "Power comes from letting go." And then it says, "Read the story of what inspired this brew." So I go to the QR code.
So you scanned it and went to the... Yep.
And it just says, "Our brews, Disarm Hazy IPA. It's a non-alcoholic IPA. Small batch non-alcoholic brewery, Chicagoland, 4 World Beer Cup medals. Expect this kind of flavor." And that's literally all it says about it.
Okay.
So I feel a little bit let down by
the QR
that.
code. Yeah, it's a beer. Thank you for
beer.
purchasing. Yeah, it's a beer. It's a non-alcoholic beer. Thank you for purchasing. So I was mentioning Nicolas Cage. We don't have Nicolas Cage news, but there is one other celebrity that I feel, and this is just a personal thing. It's a thing to me. Okay, but I feel we must report when there's news about this celebrity, even though it's not Nicolas Cage. It's the one other celebrity that it makes sense for us to cover it in my mind regardless. And that is, I'm talking about, of course, the best bad actor of all time, Mr. William Shatner. I love Bill Shatner.
I just saw a copy of his rider before going to Riot. He's going to be at Riot Fest.
And I will tell you a little bit about that and what that's going to be, which is the whole reason he's in the news. But I just wanted to mention, for my birthday a couple of years ago, my wife bought me tickets to go see in the arena down in Sugar Land. It was a showing. This is like a theater. I've seen concerts there, right? Yeah. And it's a showing on their big screen of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and then a Q&A with William Shatner afterward. And it was like the greatest gift ever, because the man is a national treasure. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely.
And did someone ask him how he projected his voice across the universe?
Yeah, well,
with repeats.
Well, when he said "Khan," yeah, exactly.
We all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and he's like right up there with Mel Brooks in age.
He is 90 years old.
Whoa,
90.
He's 90, and this is the reason he's in the news. You mentioned that he was going to be at the festival.
Yes, Riot Fest.
He's going to be there with his heavy metal band.
Oh, nice!
William Shatner.
I didn't see the details.
Has a heavy metal band. Can you think of anything more glorious than that?
That's amazing.
Only if Ice-T is opening up for him.
I can't wait to hear Mr. Tambourine Man. It's just going to be the greatest thing ever.
Rock it, man.
I am planning right now. I'm planning to buy tickets and go to the show.
Absolutely.
I will let you guys know how it goes. All right. Before we get into talking cigars a little more, Terry, let's do the drunken fact, shall we?
All right. And now it's time for another smoking and toasting drunken fact.
And just so you know, Alex, the only reason we continue to do this feature is because we're crazy about that fanfare. Every time we hear it, it makes us happy, and we just keep doing it only to hear the fanfare again. But here's your drunken fact. You can drop this at the next party you're at. People are drinking, getting a little loose. You want to come across like a person that knows things, has special information. Here's your drunken fact, and this is true. We know it is because we found it on the internet. There is a bank in Italy that accepts wheels of Parmesan cheese as collateral for loans, and they hold the cheese in bank vaults as it ages.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I mean, that bank is delicious,
amazing.
but it doesn't smell great.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I don't know if that will help you score at your next party, but it's something.
Wow.
It's definitely...
That's amazing,
It's
though.
definitely something. Ian, before we get into talking cigars with Alex, I was wondering if you had an opportunity to smoke anything good this week or anything interesting, perhaps. They're not always
As a matter
good.
of fact, I did. As a matter of fact, to tie it in with Alex, I got this cigar from Cigar Page.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
This is a Rojas Breakfast Tacos Sumatra wrapper, mini perfecto, coming in at 4.5 by 50 ring gauge. Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler. The appearance on this: milk chocolate brown, smooth leather-ish in appearance, small veins, firm feel overall with a single band. The pre-light sniff on this: classic tobacco, some barnyard earth, some fermented hay. Pre-light draw, I used a clip. Had a medium draw. Of course, it has a very tapered end on it as well, so I know that's going to open up. Lit it up. Coffee and or before I lit it up, I got coffee and leather and a nice nutty sweetness to it. The initial light on is spicy and nutty with a tangy leather and oak. I was expecting a little more of a Nicaraguan pepper blast, but it started off pretty mellow actually. First third of this spicy peppery foundation with a savory bouillon kind of note to it, roasted coffee bean, charred oak, and a hint of nutty sweetness underneath. Retrohale is sweet and spicy with oak. Solid ash had a perfect burn. You'll see in the picture right here. The second third of this leather and savory notes over a bed of pepper, starting out at the low end of medium strength that has shifted to medium plus, tipping into a full strength. At the halfway point, the first ash fell off, so that ash held on for half of the cigar.
Wow, I love when that happens.
I know, it was awesome.
I hate when it drops on your pants, but I love when it holds on that long.
Right?
Yeah.
The retrohale is peppery and charred oak with a touch of sweetness, solid ash, perfect burn. Last third of the cigar, very much like this second third of this cigar. Solid ash, perfect burn. This cigar would normally be in the $5 to $6 range roughly. I would give it a 5. I got it for a little over $2 on Cigar Page.
Dude.
I'm giving it a 7, and
Wow.
I buy these every time I find them.
Wow. And just so you know, Alex, our price to quality scale, it's a 1 to 10 scale, but if we rate something a 5, it means you got what you paid for. And so we've had to amend our ratings sometimes because we'll say, yeah, this cigar sells for about $8. And so I give it a 5, but I got it on Cigar Page and it was more like $4.50, and so I'll give it a 7. That's the way it goes. All right. I'm so interested in asking you about Cigar Page. We will get into that next, but we do have to take a break. This is Smoking and Toasting. We're all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We will talk cigars next. The sound of wonderfulness. Welcome back at Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. While Ian is pouring our first craft beer, I want to welcome once again our special guest, Alex Svenson of Cigar Page, is with us, sitting at his desk enjoying a cigar, which I wish we were also doing right now. But next time, Alex, that we have you on, we'll all gather somewhere and smoke together. We look forward to that. So,
Heck yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
so Cigar Page. When did Cigar Page come onto the scene? When did you guys start as an online place to buy cigars?
Well, that's a great question. And the kind of the trajectory of how it all came together is a little bit of a longer tale. Most of us who are at Cigar Page originally founded another mail order company called Cigars International.
Well, that's something I was going to ask about. Yeah.
So and I started a company called Cigar.com, which I sold to Cigars International and worked with the guys there. So it's kind of the band getting back together, to use you guys a little music reference that hopefully will resonate with you, where and I think, to be honest, for most of us who were there, we're fairly content, when we all kind of moved on, but we kind of saw that there was just a continued need in the industry, we thought, for delivering value and service, and it created kind of an opportunity to come in and try to do it all over again. Honestly, kind of created this behemoth, and now we're trying to do it a second time. So, due to various non-compete issues, Cigar Page actually started through a online hunting and fishing company called Field Supply, which is kind of where we all went during our non-compete, selling hunting and fishing stuff. And as soon as the non-compete was up, we started selling some cigars, to that same demographic. And then Cigar Page really originated right around 2015 as kind of a deal of the day. We weren't stocking a huge amount of cigars, so we were targeting certain things that we knew we could procure, and it was kind of just running a different cigar deal every day. And then it just gradually has gained steam over the last 10 years. And now we are the second largest cigar retailer in the world.
That's
cool. That fills in some spaces for me, because I was a fan of Cigars International. And I used to, I would I would be at work and I would have it on my computer, like watching the countdown deals and all that stuff. And then something happened, like the personality of the whole thing changed.
So I was going to say, when I first started getting into cigars, Obviously, you shop at your local cigar shops, and we believe in supporting those guys, and I still do that. But sometimes when you're looking for a great deal, you can find those things online. And I started out buying online from JR Cigars. I liked the sort of attitude that they had in the way their descriptions were written. Back when Lou Rothman, I think was his name, was the guy that was doing a lot of that writing and stuff for them and was the owner, as far as I know. It just had this kind of irreverent attitude that I appreciated. And then, I don't know, they changed hands or Lou left or whatever. They're still a good place, but I stopped being as regular, kind of shifted to Cigars International. It seemed like that's where the deals were. And then, as Ian was kind of pointing out, kind of seemed like the deals didn't stay as good as they had once been. I don't know if that's fair to say. But then when I discovered Cigar Page, what I felt like I got was both the good deals and that kind of edgy attitude that I enjoy. I enjoy reading the descriptions on Cigar Page, even when I'm not going to buy that cigar. It's got some attitude and some edge to it, and I'm assuming you guys were probably the ones that brought that to Cigars International back in the day, and now it's kind of evident on, as you guys call it, the page. So it's
page. That's right. Well, Keith Meyer, who really started Cigars International and is the owner of Cigar Page, really writes a lot of copy, and he does. He's got a very unique voice, and I'm with you. Lou Rothman, when he was writing JR catalog back in the day, it's great. I mean, so many people would look forward to that catalog, even if they weren't going to buy anything, and they keep them around just because it was such great content.
Yeah.
But it's not just the voice. When I talk about how Cigar Page started again 10 years ago, and I talked about that opportunity that I thought was getting missed, it's still something that it surprises me still today in this industry, is where we kind of have a lot of personalities and sometimes egos, is that when I say that there was an opportunity being missed, the missed opportunity, and I think you can say this about other online companies, not even in the cigar space, is that people have just forgotten about the fact that it's all about the end customer, the guy smoking the cigars. And to me, that's where the opportunity is. Throughout all the companies I've worked for in the cigar industry, even outside the cigar industry, you walk into their offices and they have their mission statement and their brand statement,
right,
and all of their stuff written on the walls. Be funny, be creative, teamwork, whatever. We don't have any of that at Cigar Page, frankly, because the one thing, because we have one thing, and if we have to write it on the wall, then you shouldn't be working here, because it's just such a simple fact. Everything we do, we ask ourselves, how does this decision benefit the customer?
Right.
And it's amazing that so many people don't still ask that. I think there's a lot of retailers out there that say, well, how does this benefit, Padron? They're more focused on the relationships with their suppliers or whatever, that they're not actually thinking about the people that are smoking this stuff. And you can say the same thing about the brand owners. I think that they get overly concerned with the retailers, but nobody's paying attention to the guys that are smoking this stuff. And that's really our ethos. And I think it's why we continue to be successful, because that's literally the one thing that we think about every day when we get up in the morning.
It's really interesting to me because there's a certain vibe and feeling that you get when you're on the site, when you're shopping. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how you do it. There's got to be some subliminal stuff or whatever going on, but it just makes me want to order more. And I'm totally serious about that. Like it's a fun experience where ordering the cigars is almost as much fun as smoking them when you get them. And I just think that's really cool. I love the sort of vibe that you created. For those who haven't ordered from Cigar Page, every time you get an order from these guys, it comes with a Boveda pack in the box, which is very cool because you feel like these cigars will be smokable much sooner. I don't have to, put them in the humidor and wait for as long, so which is good. But also, you guys have a tendency to throw in some great branded gear. Sometimes it's stickers, sometimes it's like a flag. I have some poker chips with Cigar Page, the Cigar Page monkey dude on them, and I just think it makes you feel like almost like you're a part of something, when you're getting those things. I think it's really cool. But I'm sure that the number one reason people shop you guys is because you seem to have a better handle on being able to do legit discounts than some of the other spots do. And I'm not sure how you do that. I don't know if it's because you're buying in bulk, or you have better relationships, or maybe you're just willing to not make as much money on each transaction in hopes that the volume will get you where you want to go as a business. But I think it's remarkable, and you can shop the deals. You guys have ruined my work ethic with the whole Scorcher thing. Because I sit there when I'm supposed to be working, and I'm watching the Scorcher deals go by, and 30 seconds a piece or whatever it is, and going, oh, that's good. Oh, whoa, put that in my. And then of course, to get the price, you have to check it out within 20 minutes. So I can't just put it in my in my shopping cart and go to it later. I got to deal with it right away. And so anyway, my lost work time is largely your fault.
I went on
That's
my orders history to track a package the other day and realized that I'd blown 3 months worth of cigar budget this 1 month.
This 1 month, yeah.
And it's because the deals are there.
Right.
I don't look at it twice. It's not a deal, and I'm like, I have to have that. But the deal was there every time, and I was like,
Now, Alex, one of the things I've noticed is that you guys have. I want to call it a sort of a sneaky house brand. Is the Black Swan brand? Is that owned by Cigar Page, and you guys get the various cigar makers to make a Black Swan for you? Is that the way that works?
Yeah, well, so you're talking about how we manage to buy right, to offer great prices, and then there's also, there's a ton of politics involved with the prices that we sell at. But you're talking to the right guy, because that's what I do. I'm in charge of our procurement. And yes, the Black Swan is ours. We have several trademarks. One of the ways we do achieve buying rights so that we can pass on great savings to the customer is that we're very direct with the factories. And Black Swan is just kind of one of those many brands between Penn Standard and Last of My Kind.
Penn Standards are great.
And these different things that we do kind of have control over. My partner, Jaime, who works with Cigar Page, does a lot of the blending with the blenders at the various factories. So Black Swan has been one of the most popular things we've done. And it's kind of a collaboration where Jaime and the master blender from Oliva and the master blender over at Hoyt in Nicaragua, he worked with Ernesto Carrillo on that version. So we kind of have this little bullpen of collaborations.
That's really cool. And it just adds this other dimension of things. You're like, well, I love E.P. Carrillo cigars. Let me try this Black Swan. It's a really cool idea.
Black Swans are fantastic. You mentioned the Penn States. That, at its price point especially,
the Penn Standard?
Penn Standard, is an outrageously good cigar.
So Penn Standard, my understanding is that's made by, and I'm going to pronounce it like the whitest man alive, Raymond Pages. But how do you say that? Raymond Pages? How do you say it?
Pages. So
Pages.
The G would be an H.
An H, okay. So Raymond Pages. But there are a number of different cigars from that company that I've seen on Cigar Page and haven't really seen a lot of other places. Do you guys have kind of an exclusive relationship with those guys, or are they just something you're very high on?
Exclusive, no. I live in Nicaragua part-time, and Raymond moved into my neighborhood, and he's the ex-brother-in-law of AJ Fernandez, who everyone's heard of.
And, we mention him from time to time on this show.
From time to time.
Yeah.
When I met AJ back in 2007, he only had 3 cigar rollers. In fact, I think I gave him his first purchase order way back when.
Wow.
And throughout that time, I had the opportunity to meet Raymond and work with him because he's family. And then ultimately, Raymond kind of moved on to kind of start his own thing and his own movement. And then we had lost touch for a bit, but then we bumped into each other. I was cooking out in my neighborhood, and he had moved in, and he gave me a cigar, and the rest was history. But as procurement, when I find somebody who's got a lot of talent, he's a young guy, I think he just turned 30. When I met him, he was 25, or when we rekindled, he was only 25. And I think, a lot of people, I think, in procurement like to say that they're blender. I'm not a blender, but I know a good cigar when I smoke it, and I know a cigar it's going to sell. So when Raymond handed me that cigar, and I knew him a little bit from what he was doing with AJ, I'm like, this is a guy that I want to bet on. We want to bet on. So yes, we took a very large position on him, and we kept him so busy, frankly, that there wasn't any capacity for anybody else to come in. Now, I will say in the last 2 years, there are some bigger names that are moving in there. Crux is making their Marblehead there now. And this year, the new release from West Tampa, which is called Chef Rick, is also coming out of that house, and he has a lot of people knocking on the door. There's just not a lot of room to make stuff.
Right.
But he's building a new factory, so I think you'll see more out of that house. But he is somebody who's very important, yes, to Cigar Page and the things we're doing.
And do you guys have a tighter than usual relationship with Oliva? Because it seems like you've got like Oliva stuff is like
I love that.
all over the website, and this is a good thing. But what is the relationship between Cigar Page and Oliva?
So right around when I joined the squad over at Cigar Page, I started Cigar.com and then migrated over to Cigars International. I was there when Swedish Match bought Cigars International, then it became Scandinavian Tobacco Group, which yada yada, when they went public. So I was over at General Cigar and moved over. That was right when I made the move, was when the owner of Oliva, a gentleman named Fred in Belgium, took a position with the company. So he's one of the investors.
One of the investors in
and
Cigar
one
Page.
of the owners of Cigar Page, a brand shopper in general, which is the parent company of Cigar Page. But, I always tell people, and I don't think that they necessarily believe me, which is we really don't get that much special treatment from Oliva. I think we wish we had gotten more, but, Oliva as a brand, they've got to take care of all of their customers.
Sure,
but,
they've got a big customer base, yeah.
But Oliva, I think, works well within our model. We're very aggressive on our pricing. We like to deliver great value. And when you think about all the brands out there, a lot of them have different pricing policies. In other words, how much can I sell the cigars for?
Right.
And we're always trying to get creative ways around it. And I hope the end users and customers appreciate those cigar brands that allow for a lot of flexibility in promoting, because it helps us get the cigars to you guys for a great price. And I will say that Oliva is one of the easier companies to work with. Because I think that they kind of get the model. They're very end user focused, like we are end consumer focused. But yes, they do have an interest, but I like to say that we really don't get as much special treatment as everyone thinks. We're just willing to play more aggressively than everyone else. So that makes sense.
Yeah, we have a good relationship with him as well. Shout out Trenton from Oliva. He's our buddy. Before we take a break, which we got to get to very shortly, Ian, we should taste this beer that you poured.
I was so fascinated with the
I know.
conversation. I forgot to
we
even
had
look at the
beer.
beer.
It's a good guest who can make us forget we have a beer
like
poured
apple.
in front of us. So we'll just say that. It's called Eve's Envy. It's an apple ale from Back Pew, which is Port of Texas, up the road from us a little ways. It's very apple-y on the nose. What's your take, Ian?
If you like apple and you like apple cider in general, it's very delicious.
I do.
It kind of
I
reminds
like
me
this.
of a cider, but is it a beer? It's an ale, right?
Yep, ale. It's the fruit so forbidden bears the crisp sips. Crack open this tantalizing ale and savor the apple of all Eden's tales.
It's very interesting because for me, this is like, I like apple cider, but when I'm having one, I usually wish I had a beer instead. And so this kind of accomplishes that.
Yeah, and I like it because
delicious.
some of the ciders are kind of sweet. So after you drink like 3 or 4 of them, ooh, my tummy hurts like I ate too much candy.
This has some apple tart to it, definitely.
Yes.
But it's also not a cider. It's different. It has a different mouthfeel than a cider has. More of a beer style mouthfeel. And I'm quite happy with this.
Yeah. Have you seen another apple ale before?
I have not.
I don't think I have either.
I've only seen apple ciders, not ale.
I've had ciders that kind of cross the line to beer a little bit, but this kind of does it differently.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Eve's Envy is the name of it. It's from Back Pew Brewing. Check it out. If you're at all into apple cider, you should definitely try this.
Yes,
it's
for sure. Absolutely.
It's got a great vibe to it.
It is a great alternative.
All right, we have to take a break. Our guest today is Alex Svenson from Cigar Page. We'll talk cigars a little more with him and find out what their secret is. We will reveal the Cigar Page secret on the show. Coming up, it's Smoking and Toasting. Ooh, that was well done. Well done, sir. Alex, one of the things about Smoking and Toasting is that other than the fanfare and a couple of exceptions, our sound effects here are all organically produced. It's when you hear the sound of a beer being opened, a beer has been opened. It's not a pre-recorded sound effect. And mostly it's because the company's too cheap to buy us a good sound effects library. So we manage. We make our best out of what we're doing. Ian has opened up the Citra Velvet IPA from Untitled Art. We've had a number of their beers on the show across the various episodes, and a website called The New School, newschoolbeer.com. is reporting that word is that Untitled Art, the brewery, is losing their contract brewing agreement with Octopi Brewing, leading to the shutdown of the brand.
What?
It then, though, goes on to say that the website reached out to Untitled Art's media representative and Untitled Art, an Octopi owner, for comment, and they have not received word back. So at this point, it's a rumor that Untitled Art may be shutting down, and I have to say, if that's true, I'm seriously
sad.
bummed
Yep.
because we have had some great beers from these guys, and they're just, they've always been very creative. Citra Velvet IPA may be one of their more simply named beers, but it looks like it's going to be.
Look at that beautiful artwork.
Yeah, that's one of the keys to them. Is they always have great and
This is by Noel Miller.
interesting art on the cans, and they do a fine job. Do a fine job.
Coming in
with
at
all of that.
6.5% alcohol by volume. India Pale Ale with citra hops and artificial flavor. Brewed and packaged by Untitled Art LLC.
You know, on the nose, I get a note of sweet tarts.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I can get that. Yeah, there's a pastry kind of note to it, isn't it?
Yeah, there certainly is. Almost like a pastry with frosting,
Yeah.
Yep.
sort of.
Yep.
But I'm not expecting it to be that sweet. What do you think?
Oh, it's that sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, it is sweet.
is.
Very
But it also,
fascinating.
Yeah.
but it also doesn't finish sticky sweet.
It's sweet though in a more like I don't know, an
Like it's
unusual kind of way.
round
Lot
and
of flavor.
sweet up front.
That is one of these.
It does. It tastes like icing. It tastes like a beautiful, like cupcake icing.
That is one of the sweeter tasting IPAs I think I've ever had, and I've had a lot of IPAs. They use citra hops and artificial flavor, they say, and I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know that it's my favorite IPA, but it is really one of the more interesting and
It's
different
definitely
ones.
chat worthy.
Yes. It
That's,
really
that's
is.
for sure. Which is, by the way, how this whole show started. Ian came over to my house, and we had some beers and sat around and talked about them. And I thought, hey, talk about the cigars we're smoking, talk about the beers. I got some whiskey inside. This is a show. And so that's all of the planning, period, end, that went into starting Smoking and Toasting. So,
Hey,
Well,
stuck
there
together
was
for
the
almost
drama
500.
about asking me if I wanted to do it when you came up and said, "Hey, do you want to do this show?" And I was like, "Yeah." That's how it went down, man. I
And
swear.
here's how I got him. Here's how I roped him in. I said, I don't know if we'll ever make any money doing this, but dude, samples.
Samples, yeah.
Samples. So that's been and as it turns out, we wind up buying most of the stuff that we sample. But hey, it is what it is. We're still
Samples are
we're
samples.
still having a good time. Alex Svenson is on with us from Cigar Page. Alex, when you guys started the page, you said you started it more with like specific deals, like emails maybe that would go out to your base that said, "Hey, we have this deal on this cigar." When did it become a full-fledged, I'm going to go to the website and shop for pretty much any cigar I'm looking for?
I'd have to say, so, again, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. I'd have to say it was probably about, 7 years ago. After we had been in for 3 years, really it all started as more of a deal of the day. But I'd say it took about 3 years to start amassing, critical inventory to be able to kind of have that kind of selection. But we're definitely there today. Pretty much, we sell anything anybody wants to buy. Certainly there's things we don't
your list
carry, and
of
if we don't
brands.
carry it,
Your list of brands is outrageous.
Yeah. But like you said, though, there are some brands that you don't carry. And is that just because you don't feel like you can get the right kind of discount to offer them at the prices you want to offer? Or are there other reasons?
No, I would tell you that there's any brand that we want to carry and procure, we can do it. Obviously we have a limited amount of space and capital, so we try to focus on the stuff that people want. But there are brands that we have great relationships with and that we work with directly, and there's some that I still buy third party and not directly from the company, frankly, because I want to price them a certain way that doesn't necessarily work with those folks. And that's fine. I'll procure that product another way and sell it for whatever price I want to sell it for. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag in how we procure our
That
product,
answers that
but
question.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that when you're dealing with the various cigar companies, they've got some rules and guidelines that they want you to follow.
Price protections,
Don't sell
probably.
this cigar at lower than a particular
The
point,
map
because-
pricing, right?
Right. So how do you guys is that is that a sort of a constant dealing thing where you're constantly working on ways to be able to offer these things at lower prices?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. And it, MAP for us is more like challenge accepted, right? And like it goes back to what I said. Is it what's best for the customer? Certainly, if a company has certain guidelines that we feel we can work within, that still provide, and it's a good thing for our customer that we're getting some other benefit that we feel it will greatly benefit our customers, I'll work with them. But there are companies out there that just have a strict policy that says, I'm going to sell this to you. You can't sell it for more than 10% off. They give me no flexibility. And in those cases, that's not a win for my customer to engage in that and bring that product in. And I want to be the best value for these guys. And our customers may have certain loyalties to different brands, and that's great. What I want is for our customers to just be loyal to Cigar Page,
right?
Regardless of what they buy. So yeah, it is tricky.
So
to answer your question, Cruze.
With that in mind, and I don't know if we have time in this segment for you to answer this fully, but one of the things that I enjoy, just kind of going through and looking at on the site is the different special things that you have where you're like, okay, these were made in a major factory in Nicaragua, but we can't tell you which one because but they're bandless and they're less expensive. Are those things really as good a deal as they appear to be, or is it kind of like I don't want to like pick on JR, but sometimes when you get those JR alternatives, you're like, okay, this tastes nothing like the thing that it is supposed to be an alternative to. And maybe it's a good cigar, maybe it's not. But are these things where you say, hey, trust us, these are made at a great cigar factory in Nicaragua or Honduras or whatever, and they're really, really worth more than this, but we're selling without a band because they're overruns or whatever. Is that really legit?
It is. It runs the gamut. But we will always be honest with you. When we say that this is a super premium brand, we were able to buy, a certain amount without the bands on, 100% true. And we'll always tell you when that's true. It's not always the case. Certainly there's lots. I'll go into a factory that a lot of people maybe haven't heard of that doesn't make a lot of cigars for big national brands. And I'll find a great lot that I smoke and I'll buy that lot. But I won't come to you and say, this was a second of a major brand. Right. That is just kind of what it is. I smoked it. I liked it. I was able to procure the lot and we're able to pass on at a great price. Certainly, I buy that stuff and I make those offers to those factories cheaper than when I know what it is. Right. And the more that people will let me tell them about it, the more I'm willing to pay. Right.
Right. So exactly.
I can think of one off the top of my head, which is one of my favorites. It's and I can't really even tell you which factory it is or which cigar it is, but there are a few that are legitimately, there are factories that are making overproduction. There are factories of national branded cigars that have high ratings, 93s, 95s, that do not have the capacity of their own factory and they're outsourcing to other factories. Okay. And they don't publicize that, but I know where they're being made. And I'll go to those factories and sometimes they're not moving everything to that brand owner, but they need to move those cigars and I'll buy them. Now that factory has to tell me, dude, you can't tell anybody what these are. Right. Because they don't even, the brand owner doesn't want anyone to know that we're making.
Yeah. And so, they don't want to devalue the brand. So I understand that. Yeah.
Exactly. And they don't want to devalue, but I know what it is. And I can sit there and tell you, hey, this is a creamy Connecticut that people are paying $15 for all day, every day. It's rated 93 points, and you can get it for me for $3. And that's 100% legit.
The thing that you always worry about, though, as a customer, is you're looking at this and go, wow, it looks really good. The price is really good. But when I get it home, is it going to be more like a Padron Anniversario or is it going to be more like a Quorum or something, that's like, and I'm not knocking Quorum, but it is what it is. It's a budget cigar and it's not going to have the same level of quality tobacco in it that, an Andalusian Bull is going to have, So, but you're saying that some of this stuff is really is top-notch, top-flight stuff. It just maybe overruns or there's a blemish on the wrapper or something,
Well, again, we'll always be 100% honest with you. There's some seconds I buy that people don't want me to disclose what factory it comes from or what brand it was, and that's great. And then you have the other side of the fence, which I heard you guys talking about in a previous episode, the Oliva seconds.
Oh, love them.
They're wonderful.
Love them.
Oliva's very, very, they sell their seconds, and they have no issue with me saying it. They prefer I not necessarily say what's what, but you can kind of figure it out. I mean, the nub, the 4x60 Connecticut is a friggin' nub Connecticut.
Yeah, it's
right?
pretty hard to
There's
not
only
know
one
what
way
that
you
is.
do it, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right. And that's one of the reasons I love buying those seconds, and I pay a little bit more for them when we do buy those seconds. But the reason is because I can very, unapologetically tell you what it is, and you know what you're getting.
I love it. All right.
But I think that's where it goes. Is you want to. It's more about trusting where you're buying your cigars from.
Absolutely.
We will always be honest and just say, look, this was a lot I bought. The guy ran out of money, and they were sitting in an aging room, and I bought them.
Love it.
Or I'll tell you, hey, these are legitimately a top rated brand.
All right, we got to take a break. We will come back. Rum to taste in our next segment. We'll get right back for it. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Our guest is Alex Svenson from Cigar Page. And I mentioned on the last segment that we were going to be tasting a rum on this segment. So Alex reached behind him on the shelf and pulled out. What is that rum you pulled out there, Alex? What are you going to be?
Well, when I heard rum, this is the Havana Complexion de Maestros from Cuba. I just couldn't sit around watching you guys enjoy all this stuff without throwing my hat in the ring here.
We are so envious of watching you smoke a cigar, by the way, just because we're in the studio. We can't smoke in here at this point in time, but we'll get there. It's why we like to do shows on location. So maybe when you guys open up your retail location, which we'll talk about in a little bit, maybe we should come up and do a show from there. That would be... Yeah. That would be just like
amazing.
An amazing road trip. Yeah. Think about how expensive that trip would be for us. And I'm
not just for the travel.
I'm not just talking the travel. Yeah, no.
Ending up in the cigar humidor. That's right.
Yeah, just remember, there's no such thing as debtor's prison in the United States. So that's a good thing to know. I want to tell you real quick about the cigar that I smoked this week. It was the DBL Chengo Ultra Premium Mexican Habano Toro. Now, this was my first time actually smoking a DBL cigar. DBL stands for Dominican Big Leaguer. This particular brand is called Chengo, which is in honor of the company's master farmer. Now, my Spanish is not great, but that word sounds an awful lot like what my friend Juan always used to say to me growing up. Not exactly Chengo, but real close. It's a very pretty cigar, classy packaging, nice chocolate brown, smooth wrapper, shaggy foot, and a pigtail cap. Standard Toro size, a 6x52, and it uses a Mexican sun-grown Habano wrapper over a binder from Sumatra, and all Dominican filler, featuring what DBL touts as the exclusive T13 tobacco. T13 is a proprietary hybrid seed developed in the Dominican Republic after about a decade of breeding and selection. It sounds kind of like it's a secret spy organization, but it's a tobacco. So it was designed and intended to provide good disease and drought tolerance, rich layered flavor, and a good characteristic for premium cigar filler. I snipped off the pigtail cap, took a few cold puffs, got lightly fermented tobacco, earth, and hay, right in line with what I'd expect from a Dominican cigar, but maybe just a touch more refined. Or maybe it was my imagination after reading about T13, which again, is not a top secret spy agency. I lit the shaggy foot, took my initial puffs, and got a really nice mix of flavors from the jump. I wouldn't call it a Dominican pepper blast, but there was definitely a little pepper on the tongue in the first third, along with some earth and leather and a minerality on the finish that was actually quite pleasant. Draw was nice and open, but about a half inch into the cigar, which you'll see in the picture here, it started burning a little unevenly. One side developed what was almost like a canoe, while another left unburned pieces of tobacco that reminded me of how a broadleaf wrapper can sometimes burn. Sometimes those can be a little more problematic. My first thought was not to tend it with the lighter at all and just see if it would correct itself. But by the start of the second third, I gave up on that approach because the canoe seemed to be getting worse. So I topped off the edge, hit it with a little flame to try and even the wrapper burn out a little bit. Burn seemed a little bit better at that point, but there was a tiny bit of harshness for the next several puffs before the flavors even back out. Unfortunately, though, the uneven burn continued. The flavor notes remained pretty consistent from the first third, a nice mix, but not a lot of variance. I did pick up a hint of charred oak, which grew a little stronger as the cigar burned. The DBL Chengo Ultra Premium Mexican Habano Toro is considered to be the strongest one in the DBL line, but it clocked in for me pretty much at medium strength until about the halfway point. And then I started to notice an increase in body and power that took it up to what I would call full-bodied. Final third added leather and molasses to the flavor mix, a nice blend with the pepper and mineral notes on the finish. Burn got a little better and actually evened out pretty well by the final third, but I was a little disappointed at the fact that it took until that last portion of the cigar for the burn to get better. Suggested pairing, I'd go with something big, like a barrel-proof bourbon. This might be a great match with our Smoking and Toasting O.H. Ingram Barrel Pick, which we will be drinking again next week on next week's show. We're very excited about it. Yeah, the first bottle's arriving. So we'll have to try this with that cigar once I get my hands on a bottle. Overall flavor profile was good. Strength was definitely more apparent than in most Dominican cigars that I've smoked. Wrapper and binder definitely kicked things up a notch in the overall power of the cigar. Bottom line, I enjoyed it. And it was a nice change of pace from my favorite Nicaraguan blends. But it didn't feel quite like an ultra premium to me. The DBL Chengo Ultra Premium Mexican Habano Toro is a $13 cigar, and I'd say that really it was only the burn that was disappointing to me at that price. Flavor was good. It's worth checking out, and I will try it again. At $13 to me, it just barely clocks in at a 5 on our price to quality scale, which means I got what I paid for. It's not a new favorite for me, but compared to most other sticks in its price range, it stacks up pretty nicely. So I suggest you try it for your own and see if I'm just completely out of my mind or if some of that stuff is true. If yours burns more consistently than mine did, you're going to think that's a pretty good cigar. So, our guest on the show today is Alex from Cigar Page. Want to talk a little more Cigar Page in just a moment, but since Alex is already enjoying his rum, I thought we should do the same. And so this is a rum that has juice from 7 different provinces of Costa Rica. It's the Ron Centenario, 7 provinces, and Ron, of course, just means rum, so Rum Centenario. Your thoughts, Ian? You've started your research, which I appreciate.
This, you were doing a lot of talking. It was making me thirsty. This is complex.
It is, isn't it?
Like there's, a lot of times you get things that are complex and they're subtle and complex. This has so many different things going on. It's almost confusing, but in a good way.
I'm wondering if I can pull out 7 different flavor notes, like one for each of the 7
I don't know
provinces.
that I'm getting that, but I'm definitely getting. So I'm getting the I'm getting grain in there, like almost a
like a wheat sort of a
like
vibe
almost
to
a
it?
bready kind of grain. Now I'm getting, of course, the normal rum things that you get.
Like
I'm
your
getting the cane
molasses
sugar,
and your
the
cane
molasses,
sugar and the vanilla.
and the vanilla, but I'm getting these other things that are so there's a spice to it that's
Especially on the finish.
and I'm not talking about quote unquote spiced rum. I'm talking about there's a spice
Right,
to
it's
it.
more of
that's-
like a little bit of a peppery tingle that it leaves on the tongue, especially in the finish. I think it's pretty great.
That bready kind of note that's in there. This is drinking a little more like a whiskey, but it's definitely not like you'd never guess that it was a whiskey, of course. But it's just really complex. And then the mineral water finish,
Yeah.
which is again unusual. I'm used to a lot more sweet on the finish. Or if in the case of like the funky Jamaican rums or something, some of that funk or tire fire and anything. This is just complex.
Yeah, it really is. And now I'm going to blow your mind. You ready? $28 for that
Seriously.
bottle. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, it drinks more like at least a $45 rum in my opinion. And I'm a big fan of some of the more expensive rums. I'm sure that bottle that you were drinking from there, Alex, is not a super cheap bottle. Well, I don't know, because that brand is not that expensive when you find the versions on the shelf that are available in
white
America.
label, right?
Yeah, but I bought a bottle of their Cuban rum at a what do you call those things in the airport where you can buy
Yeah, the
duty free?
duty-free?
Yeah,
Duty free.
and brought that home, and it was fantastic. So
The 7 year is great, and to be honest with you, the Maestros doesn't get that much more expensive. I think you're talking maybe $50 a bottle, but again, that was duty free.
Right.
I can't really find it anywhere else, but I think it's still a great value.
It's a good reason to fly, as far as I'm concerned. It seems to really work. I love rum and cigars. My favorite spirit, Alex, is actually tequila. I really love a really great sipping tequila with a cigar, and of course, Ian's a whiskey guy. What do you like to drink most often when you're having a cigar?
I've become quite a cocktail guy, to be honest. I
Really?
used to drink a lot of straight liquor, but rum's probably my favorite. I smoke a lot of cigars, obviously for pleasure, but for work also. And sugar helps metabolize nicotine. So for me, and I think that's why a lot of Cubans also enjoy that really heavy Cuban coffee with a lot of sugar or rum.
Right.
To me, that's why it pairs so well with cigars and tequila to a certain extent, too. But for me, rum, definitely. And I like it straight. Maybe if anything, I just squeeze a lime into it.
You know what my wife made for me last night?
What's that?
She took a pour of Blanton's and made kind of a old-fashioned concoction, but instead of using the bitters and the simple syrup, she used Grand Marnier.
Oh.
It was oddly good.
Your wife is a very creative cocktail maker. She really is. I mean, we've had some great cocktail experts on the show that have, Roberto has been here and Chris Morris has been on the show. We've had some great cocktail experts, but your wife is pretty creative, I have to say. And
yes, and she comes up with some pretty interesting things. And they're all, a lot of times, they're almost always kind of a old-fashioned adjacent.
Yeah, well, that's
because I think that's her favorite.
You got to like what you like. Okay, Alex, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here, and it's fine if you don't want to answer because of the fact that obviously you guys deal with a lot of different cigar companies. But do you have a personal favorite cigar? Do you have one of your all time? Like if I'm gonna smoke in a special occasion, it's going to be this. Is that something you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it's not, for me, my favorite cigar isn't something, it's a special occasion. It's something that I smoke every day, all day. And for me, it's the Oliva Serie V. Ever since it came out. Because it's not just about the strength. It's not just about the nicotine and the plant selection and leaf selection, which is what it really comes down to. Because certainly full-bodied cigars were already on the rise when the Oliva Serie V was made. It's about the fermentation process and how they work it to give it not just that strength, but the sweetness and the flavor. Yeah. So for me, it's the Oliva Serie V. It's been in my top 5 since it came out. So, I mean, we're going on 20 years now, and it's just the perfect cigar. And then after you talk about that, it becomes things that I'm personally enjoying a lot right now. One cigar that I had neglected for a decade and started just smoking a lot of recently is actually the Hoy de Nicaragua Classico. And then I'd say if it is a special occasion, what I reach for Cruze lately is the EP Carrillo Encore Black. We put out a couple thousand boxes of that a year, and that cigar is exceptional.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I find that, when we talk to people about cigars and when you talk to people that are, I guess, more experienced smokers, we really get into the, medium to full and full-bodied cigars. We talk a lot about, the flavor profiles of these and what we're getting out of them. But is it true to you guys at Cigar Page that your best sellers have a tendency to be a little lighter on the Connecticut wrapper side? Or do you find that people who are coming to you are looking for these more full-bodied and maybe aficionado type cigars? I hate to use that term, but you know what I'm talking about.
In my experience, and you're hitting on, I think, kind of this trajectory that's always been around. Nobody starts smoking, full-bodied cigars, right? You don't know cigars. We're giving the strongest thing you got, right? But I think if you notice, a lot of the ways people, I think, get into the hobby, they start out with something kind of mild, and they ramp up pretty fast into finding their way into fuller-bodied selections. And what I've noticed is that after you've been smoking for many years, is that you actually start to kind of curve back down and enjoy more of the medium
I
and mild.
Totally agree with that.
Well, the reason for that is that I think a lot of people, when you're learning about cigars and learning what you like, is that you're confusing the idea of strength and body with flavor. And you start and you think, oh, I want more flavor, and you start thinking that you need stronger cigars. And the truth is that a lot of medium body, mild body cigars have a lot of flavor, and so I think when people start to develop their palate and understand the difference between flavor and body, they start to kind of settle back into that more medium zone.
And the same thing has been true for me. I love a great full-bodied cigar, but if it's a go-to for me, I have a tendency to sit more in the medium to medium full range. In fact, you could figure this out if you look at my order history on Cigar Page. But my personal favorite sort of go-to, I just love that AJ Fernandez, the San Latano Requiem Maduro. To me, that just hits perfectly, and it's not outrageously expensive. AJ has much more expensive blends than that, but that one to me just seems like that's like right in my sweet spot, and so I'm almost never out of that in my humidor, as your order history of mine would
we'll prove
logically,
we'll prove it.
Logically,
AJ does a great job with Maduro. I mean, to me, where he excels, where a lot of other cigar makers and tobacco men don't, is that he can literally, I've seen the guy take tobacco that nobody else can work with, be it the quality or whatever, and he can turn it into gold.
Yeah, I love it.
A good Maduro is all about tobacco processing, and he processes better than anybody. So his Maduro, I'm right there with you. His Maduros are all.
Want to pick right back up there when we come back. We got to take a break. This is Smoking and Toasting. Our guest is Alex Svenson from Cigar Page, and we will be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Ian, we asked our guest, Alex from Cigar Page, about his favorite cigar. He went with Oliva Serie V as at least one of his prominent favorites. I talked about my AJ favorites. What about you? What's your go-to? And we say favorite, not necessarily the best cigar you've ever had.
Right. My answer to that is a little more complicated. I have some things that I kind of swim through on a regular basis. And the Oliva Serie V is top of that list. I just bought 2 boxes of the 135th. That came in yesterday. I'm so excited.
What a great cigar that was. I mean, just amazing.
The nub Maduros, I love to have those in my humidor because I love to be able to just toss a cigar in my pocket. I don't have to worry about crushing it too much, especially if I get the tubos, things like that. So I smoke those actually pretty often too. The Penn Standard that you guys sell is something. I just bought a box of 40.
I love that smaller size, like the little mini Corona. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that's so good.
And that's just such a great handy thing. Street tacos right now, the small mini Perfecto has been one of my absolute go-tos. But it shifts. I have some favorites, and I love so many different cigars, and I don't always want the same cigar. Because as much as I love the Oliva Vs, I don't necessarily want 2 of the same cigar in a row. I kind of like to change the flavor a little bit. So if I'm smoking 2 cigars, I might do 2 different things.
Agreed. And I would ask Terry about what his favorite cigar is, but I already know the answer. It's whatever one you or I just gave him.
Yes,
exactly. That's generally Terry's favorite.
I have already amassed a lifetime supply of cigars just from stuff like that and events we go to.
Here's the thing, though, Terry. If you continue to do this show, you've been with us for what, a couple of years now?
Oh, like 3 years,
yeah. 3 years. If you continue to do this show, the amount that constitutes lifetime supply changes over time.
Yeah, yes,
I just want to mention that. And
that's true.
And again, this is where Cigar Page comes in, so handy because honestly, you guys, I rely on you guys for bulk. I will just admit it. Like, and sometimes they're those special, unmarked cigars. Sometimes they're absolutely.
I want to throw in the EPC cigars too on my favorites.
Oh, sure.
And it's not always the same one either. I love the Pledge. I love the Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance is really nice.
Yeah.
The Encore. What's the new orange one they just came out with? Was not Majestic? Is that it?
Is it Majestic?
I think it is the Majestic.
Yeah, they're all so good. I can grab almost anything EPC. I love Oscar Valderas.
Oh, you're a
I
big
love-
fan of Oscar Valderas, yes.
Anything the
absolutely.
guy makes. I mean, come on, like the Superfly and the.
Well, see, that's kind of how I am about AJ. It's like I've never had an AJ cigar that I didn't like on some level. And I realize, and you should know this, Alex, I'm an AJ fanboy. I talk about him all the time on the show. I don't, we've met him, although we had to speak through an interpreter, but he was very nice to us. I've heard all kinds of conflicting stories. But the point is, I feel like that man knows tobacco better than just about anybody in the industry. Either that or what he's growing on his farms is so good and he hoards it all for his own stuff
Or
and
he
doesn't
found the
let other people have them.
crossroads.
The Crossroads?
The crossroads.
See, when I think of Crossroads, I think of like old blues guys.
That's what I'm talking about. Or
Yeah.
he found the crossroads.
yeah, well, that
That's where
may
the
be
devil
the
stands.
He made that deal.
that may be the thing. So, Alex, tell us about this retail store you're opening. This is your first Cigar Page retail store. Is it going to be called Cigar Page, or does it have a different name?
That I can't speak to yet, just because we haven't necessarily released a lot of the information.
Okay.
It will be Cigar Page. It will kind of have a secondary name to it, so that we can kind of brand that I think will be very.
And will this be in
Descriptive of
Bethlehem,
it.
Pennsylvania?
It'll be in Bethlehem, kind of right off 78 there near the Pennsylvania border, New Jersey.
Yeah. So
and
I lived in
it's fun.
Philadelphia for a couple of years, so I'm pretty familiar with that area. So, yeah.
Well,
Not
I was
far
driving
from-
by.
Not far from
I-
our Connecticut listeners to jump over there.
That's right. That's
There
right.
you go. Well, you guys are always welcome. Literally the hardest part we've had, it is our first retail location. And the hardest part we have is kind of what you guys talk about is what we talked about earlier, which is this Cigar Page brand, the way we communicate with our customers and the way we run our promotions. And I think the hardest challenge is how are we going to capture that, right? That feeling
In an actual
and that
brick
part
and
of the
mortar.
brand
Yeah.
in a physical experience.
Yeah.
And I think the idea there is go big. And I can tell you, I was just driving by the building. I don't live in Pennsylvania, but I'm up there all the time. And when I was driving by the other day, I mean, just the scale of this thing is unbelievable. I mean, we're going to have seating. We're going to have a full bar. We're going to have food.
I love that.
Seating for 300 people. We have an outdoor patio.
Wow.
We're going to have the world's largest walk-in humidor, 5,000 square feet with $2 million worth of inventory at any given time, just in the humidor. I mean, that doesn't take into account the 10 million cigars we have in our warehouse just down the road.
Right. Well,
So it's going to be the mecca. I mean, it's going to be the embodiment of Cigar Page and the movement we're doing.
Can you
in a
guys set up
physical
like a
location.
trailer hookup right outside of there so I can just pull my little RV up?
I think we're gonna have to, man.
I just
told
need a
them that's
30
whole
amp.
nother- Having a hookup is going to be a whole nother revenue stream.
yeah,
right?
Ian, I have two words for you. The first one is road, and the second is
Yeah,
trip.
that's what I'm talking about.
I'm serious. It just sounds. Now, I will tell you, that's one thing I credit Cigars International for. I think they did a great job in establishing their retail locations, and I kind of think that's a difficult thing to do. Like you've got this success going on online where you're like the second largest, retailer of cigars on the planet, and yet turning that into a successful retail store, that's a different animal, isn't it?
It is. The president of our company, Matt Cook, actually was the head of retail for Cigars International and did the entire build out for them. I mean, when I tell you that it's like the old Cruze, like putting the band back together, it is no joke. That
I
said,
love
we're
that.
going in a different direction here. Cigars International, to their credit, they have their kind of own thing that they're doing, and I think our approach is going to be different. But literally, the first one, and it will take shape as we learn as we go. But the first one is all just about being big and shock and awe, right? I mean, and that's a big part of what we do in procurement. Like I'll go out and they'll say, we need more Fuente Añejos, Alex. And I got to go out and find a bunch of Fuente Añejo for these guys.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and they say, we need more Fuente Añejo. And I go, well, I just got you 50 boxes, on the shipment. Where did those go? And then I realized they sold them
Yeah.
for like 40% off of retail. And they go, what? You could have sold those at full retail. And they said, no, we want to shock and awe. We want people to go, oh my God, how are these guys selling this stuff at 30 off or whatever? We want the store to be the same kind of experience, but in a physical manifestation of just, oh my God, this is an excessive amount of space.
I just want to mention before we go to break that I love what you guys are doing this. And should you decide to open a second location, I just want to say the cigar and spirits industry in the greater Houston, Texas area would totally support what you're doing.
Let's go southeast side.
Yeah. And,
Please.
And you could find lots of affordable land. There's no state tax.
And listen,
I'm just talking.
You have two built-in customers right here that are probably going to pay the rent.
Yeah, you would have no problem making your rent every month. I guarantee it. I can see to that almost personally. So, all right, we got to take a break. Believe it or not, Drinking News is next, so Alex is going to get to experience his first Drinking News, and we may even have him chime in the intro. So we'll do all of that next, and we'll continue to talk cigars with Cigar Page. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We are we're on with Alex from Cigar Page. And Alex, just before we get into Drinking News, I just wanted to ask you, could you just walk into your massive, display area, not your display area, but where you guys store all of your inventory, your warehouse? Could you just walk in there and grab cigars and start smoking? Is that something that is a perk of your job?
It is, but I'd have to tell people what I'm taking, though, that we don't have disappointed customers if they try to order the
inventory management.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I ordered a box of Andalusian Bulls and there's one missing. What's going on here?
He does that when he goes and finds the cigars. That's what. He gets it before then.
Yeah.
He
That's
doesn't
a
have to
great
wait until
cigar
they're in
that
the,
you've
in the
mentioned,
shop.
by the way, twice now.
I will
and I
say-
have found 2 of those in the wild recently.
Oh, nice. In the wild, sometimes they grow naturally. That's what I've heard about the Andalusian Bull. I will just mention, by the way, Alex, I'm still so mad at my high school guidance counselor for not mentioning that this was a potential career path. And I have not forgiven the woman. Miss Standish was her name.
Miss Standish.
And I don't know.
Shame
if
on
she's-
you, Miss Standish.
I don't know if she's still alive, but if she is, she should be very embarrassed for not pointing me down the path that I should have gone. It's time for Drinking News. This is the segment of the program where we bring you a story from the news that, it's actually a true story. This is not like a parody story or something like that. It is something that is sometimes, but not always, about drinking, but is always best enjoyed if you've been drinking. It's the segment we call Drinking News.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm had a gator for a pet. And asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. As many times as we've done that line still makes me laugh. I absolutely love it. All right, before we get to our main story in today's Drinking News, we would like to pause for a moment to do something unprecedented. Right here on this very program, we have decided to award the first annual Drinking News Excellence in Journalism Award to the very deserving KTLA Los Angeles reporter Rachel Menitoff. Rachel was on the air live.
I know this lady.
She was on the air live from Sherman Oaks last week, delivering a report on the Southern California heat wave. And as she shared her observations about the impact the heat was having on the Los Angeles suburbs,
I shudder.
the intrepid reporter was joined on camera by a surprise guest. A large flying cockroach landed on her stomach right in the middle of the live shot and then proceeded to crawl upwards across her breasts and onto her neck. But this journalism professional did not even flinch.
No.
Despite the fact that cockroaches have been known to sometimes carry bacteria that can cause salmonella or gastroenteritis, E. coli infections, and dysentery. Reporter Rachel Menitoff remained calm and professional, and she finished her live report even when the unnamed cockroach jumped onto the microphone she was holding and then flew away. She didn't even make that sound. Now, if you're a guy, you know what I'm talking about. There is a particular sound that my wife makes that I have learned means only one thing. She has seen a bug. My job then is to come running from wherever I might be, armed with Raid, a shoe,
slayer of bug,
and a wad of toilet paper that I can use to scoop up the little guy's body once I have dispensed with his life force and give it the watery toilet burial that it deserves. But Rachel,
So real.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
So real.
But Rachel, Drinking News salutes you, and we're naming you the first recipient of this prestigious award for keeping your cool, for not making that sound, and for finishing your report unfazed.
She did.
Right through your sign-off where you said, reporting live from the Golden Corral all-you-can-eat buffet, I'm Rachel Minitoff, KTLA News.
Now, I had a family friend in town. We were sitting out back, and I was having a cigar. And one of those goes running across the driveway. Now, these things are...
Yeah, they're this
they're
big.
enormous,
In Texas,
right?
they're this big. Yeah.
And he's looking at it, he's like, wow, that sucker's fast. I'm like, yeah, they're faster than you.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, get up and try and step on it. They are faster than you. They're literally the second fastest land-running insect in the world.
I believe it. Yeah,
And he's marveling at that. A few minutes later, he's looking around at horror and disgust. He goes, they fly?
yes, they do.
And
I was
they're
like,
not,
oh, yeah, and they fly.
They're not good at it either.
Yeah.
They are not good at it.
I would like to report. I'd like to mention that I said that her sign-off included the phrase "reporting live from Golden Corral, all-you-can-eat buffet." I'm Rachel Minitoff, KTLA News. And now, before legal gets involved here, I will confess that, of course, I made that last part
She
up.
wasn't really there.
Obviously, she didn't say KTLA News. So, but our main story on today's Drinking News is also kind of about a wayward cockroach, minus the roach. It's the story of 36-year-old Indiana man Christopher Peden,
Indiana man.
a resident of Fort Wayne who wound up setting fire to his mother's garage in a bizarre incident that has baffled police, firefighters, and those of us here at Drinking News.
I'm not sure what this has to do with the cockroach minus the roach.
I'll get there. The Indiana man has confessed that on the morning in question, around 2 a.m., he entered the garage at his mother's house, which, of course, the 36-year-old most likely lived at. And then, there's no easy way to say this, he cut off his penis with a kitchen knife.
Oh.
Have
I mean, why else would you go to the garage? You don't want to make a mess on the kitchen
There
floor,
is
right?
no easy way to say that.
Now, I don't know what kind of kitchen knives Peden's mother had in her silverware drawer, but I know that every kitchen knife I've ever owned has trouble cutting through a stick of butter unless I pre-softened it in the microwave. So it's not like this was
Okay.
accomplished in one clean stroke.
You know, when you said it earlier, it was bad, but this now, you're
mean,
making me do that. Oh,
Clearly, there was
okay.
some sawing and hacking involved.
Oh,
But
oh.
it gets worse,
Okay, hold on a second.
as these stories
Hold
so
on, hold
often
on a
do.
second.
I'm already holding it.
Does neither of you have a knife sharpener or know how to use it?
Do you sharpen your kitchen knives?
Yes.
The ones that
sharpens
use
everything.
like, well, yeah, it's
he
true.
sharpens
everything.
You are a knife aficionado. You
sharpens
sharpen
everything.
everything. Speaking of which, by the way,
Yes, that's why.
I've got a couple of
That's why
knives
when
I
my
need
wife
to-
goes to cut a tomato, it doesn't slide sideways and try to take her thumb off. It actually goes through the tomato.
you can do that.
Use the bread knife for that.
But it gets worse, as these stories so often do. After making his penis detachable, just like
Great
that,
song, by the
just
way.
like that '90s song by King
Penis.
Missile.
Great
Yeah.
song.
Peden threw it
King
onto the
Missile.
floor, doused it with gasoline, and set it on fire.
This has been all of my problems for my whole life, and I'm going to get rid of it right now.
The torrid tallywhacker, of course, immediately set other items in the garage on fire. But our Indiana man did not stick around for the boner-born blaze. He
No, you didn't.
He walked away from the garage, wandering aimlessly, as a man with no penis might do.
There's going to be some loss of blood now.
Yeah, until he was eventually apprehended by police. He was eventually released on a $10,000 bond, which I'm just going to say right now is the least of his problems.
I was going to say, I feel like you walk away from that going, I'm never going to need that again.
Yeah. He will appear in court later this month. In a court affidavit, a Fort Wayne Fire Department investigator reported collecting evidence from the garage that included a gasoline container,
This is where the fire started.
4 Bic lighters, and a kitchen knife. The affidavit does not address whether any body parts were recovered. Now, honestly, it's hard to say what disastrous things would have to happen in a man's life to get him to sever his own schlong.
Whoa.
But we do know...
Wait, you said he was 36, right?
Yeah.
Living at mom's?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just...
Yeah, you're putting it together.
I'm just putting it together.
I can
Not
see the
gonna need
pieces
that.
coalescing in your mind. We don't know what happened to him to cause all this, but we do know from sociological studies that many men actually name and even talk to their manly members. And that has led our team of erstwhile reporters here at Drinking News to speculate that if the Indiana man is one of those who has conversations with his own genitalia, which now may be missing, there's some things that he's very likely to have said.
You can't name it if you're going to kill it.
And so...
Well, yeah, but don't you want to have a name and talk to the guy that's making most of your decisions? I mean, that doesn't seem all that weird.
That's a
the
good
CEO,
point.
so to speak.
With all of that explained, I would like to present to you now another absolutely frivolous Drinking News Top 5 list. This would be the top 5 things that Christopher Peden might have said to his own organ before cutting it off with a kitchen knife.
His name is Christopher Peden?
Peden, P-E-D-E-N.
Don't you know that his whole life in school he was called Christopher Penis?
Yeah, well, all of which might have
Not
led
anymore.
to this. Yeah. Top 5 things he might have said to his penis before cutting it off. Here we go, number 5. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you.
No, it's really going to hurt both of us.
Yeah. Number 4. Maybe now that hottie Lorena Bobbitt will want to date me.
Thank you for making at least one Bobbitt reference.
Yeah. Number 3. It's been more than 4 hours. My doctor didn't answer the phone, so I'm taking matters into my own hands. Number 2. I know I'm not a raccoon, but maybe this will still get me a visit from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And the number 1 thing that
Jimothy?
he might have said to his penis before cutting it off, number 1, you've gotten me in so much trouble. It's absolutely ridiculous. Reporting live from the burning garage in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where a food table has been set up for the press, and I'm definitely having a hamburger, not a hot dog. My name is Cruze, and that is your...
Drinking news. Drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Right now, Alex from Cigar Page is going, why did I agree to this?
What is going on?
I just wanted to promote our shop and sell some cigars, and now this.
Now this.
Yeah, Alex, we are so genuinely thrilled to have you on, and I'm enjoying this rum so much that we poured in this last segment here, and I'm just in my mind I'm thinking how great this is going to be with a cigar, because this is I really do love rum and cigars. It's one of the most beautiful. In fact, we got together last Friday and enjoyed some cigars. We had a little bit of that rum, that Diplomatico rum at A1, which was fabulous.
That was quite good. I had to
cigar.
go back up there. I left my card, apparently.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So I went up there I was like, I'll go up there after traffic. So it was about 9:30.
How much did it cost you to go retrieve your card?
Well, I literally ran in and got it, but I had to wait in line while the valet was doing this. The valet walks up to me. I was like, listen, I just got to run inside and grab my card and come back out. He's like, yeah, go ahead.
Very good.
Yeah, they get popular at night.
But yeah, I was very busy.
Yeah, they get packed.
Ian, you poured our last beer for the show, and this is something I have a feeling you're familiar with this already. It's Boulevard Brewing's 6th glass, their Quadrupel
Yes.
ale. And Quadrupel is obviously times 4.
Well, first off, Boulevard makes great beers anywhere. Anyway.
Yep.
But their 6th glass has been out for years. It's the Quadrupel ale. They have no information about it on here.
Yeah. But the information is in the glass. The 6th glass.
They do have it. It's 10.2%.
Yeah.
And it's delicious.
Yeah, it really is. Again, we're talking cigars a lot today.
This
but
would
this
go
just
really well
strikes
with
me as
cigars.
a really great thing to balance with a cigar. So
like the Belgian styles, the quadruples, things like that are really, really no-brainers when it comes to cigars because they have that sweetness. It's not like rums have that kind of sweetness, that kind of dark sweetness that makes them go well with cigars. Whiskey has that a lot of times too.
yeah, absolutely.
Scotch can get a little tricky if you have something with a bunch of peat in it, but
Yeah, well, but sometimes those peated scotches work really well with a cigar. It
Sometimes.
just depends on the right one. When you guys are opening up a retail location, obviously you're looking for like a full liquor license and a fully stocked bar. Is that something that is? Will your bartenders? I guess the question is, be skilled in helping people pair spirits with their cigars? Is that a
Absolutely.
requirement?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously being knowledgeable about cigars as well, but certainly on the alcohol end. And Pennsylvania is state liquor control, makes it a little bit more difficult, but we're certainly also going to be leveraging our relationships at all the distilleries to go select our own barrels and do all kinds of stuff. We'll have craft cocktails in the rum space, certainly. With La Aurora, they have their own Leon Jimenez rum, and so there'll be a lot of opportunities to do a lot of
Love that.
kind of cool cross stuff too.
Yeah,
Nice.
love that. I just wanted to ask you this. I lived in Pennsylvania for a number of years, lived in the suburbs of Philadelphia and Bryn Mawr. And I thought that the liquor laws in Pennsylvania were some of the most interesting ones because if you're going to buy spirits, you go to a state-owned liquor store, right? And if you want to buy beer, there's two ways you can do it. You can go to like your favorite restaurant or bar or whatever, and you can buy a 6-pack to go.
Yep.
Right? But outside of that, the only way to really buy beer, you can't pick it up at the grocery store or at the state-owned liquor store. You go to a beer distributor. And where I lived there was one literally right up the street from me, so I was there a lot. But you could only buy beer by the case. So I would buy a case of beer from like Victory or whoever I get it from, put it in my. How does that promote responsible drinking? I'm just not sure that this is like if I have to buy it a case at a time. Like
We're going to control what you buy, but you can only buy a huge amount at one time.
that's exactly
Well,
right.
here in Texas, you can only be a responsible adult if you don't buy any of that on
Sunday.
Sunday. If you don't buy
So
liquor
just so
on
I
Sunday.
get this, just so that I get this straight, you guys are lecturing the safe sale of liquor in a state that has drive-through margarita.
Dude, yes.
I don't live in Texas, but I've heard rumors of such.
Yeah, but
thing.
that's wine-based. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I've had drive-through margaritas. We also have the beverage barn, where it's just a barn and you can drive through and they'll just
dude,
throw alcohol
I've been
in
there.
Dude,
I've been there. That is fantastic.
I lived
I've been
in
there.
Louisiana where there are
Oh,
drive-through
that is amazing.
daiquiri shops. You literally pull up and order your drink, and they hand you this enormous drink, this daiquiri with a straw in it, or like a strawberry margarita, whatever, and you drive away sipping
Okay,
it.
so you know what the difference is
New
between
Orleans.
the Louisiana one and the
That's New
Texas one?
Yeah?
In Texas, it's a wine-based alcohol. In Louisiana,
That's not the case
it's
in
Reno.
Louisiana. It's
In
real.
Louisiana, you just
Texas is an anomaly to me. I mean, I'm jealous because also I like bourbon, quite a bit. I'm here in the Midwest. I can't find Weller to save my life. When they get a few bottles, then maybe if you know the guy, you get one.
Yeah.
And then when I go hunting like down in Del Rio and I'm in the middle of nowhere in Texas and I pull over in a liquor store and you guys have Weller by the handle.
Oh, dude.
And it looks
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's just
stacks
an
of it.
inventory going out the back.
I
And
was just going
my
to
head's
say,
exploding.
we have Weller.
Weller is
Come
an
down,
absolute
bring
go-to.
cigars, and we will
I'll
get
trade you for
together
Weller.
and enjoy
We
ourselves.
can work something out. We can work something
I'm absolutely sure of that. My
And Buffalo
favorite,
Trace, by the way. No
my,
problems here.
My favorite place that I've ever lived, liquor law wise, though, was when I lived in Massachusetts. And my favorite thing there was that you could never buy beer or alcohol on Sundays. All the shops were closed. Now, you could drive across the state line to New Hampshire and buy beer on a Sunday or liquor on a Sunday. But my favorite thing was between Thanksgiving and New Year's, that was suspended. You could buy liquor and beer on a Sunday between Thanksgiving and New Year's because they were losing so much revenue from the holiday season, right? So what I just love is that you can't buy beer on Sunday because that's the holy day, except during the most holy time of the year, in which case it's all good. So, all right, we have one more segment to wrap up, and we will be right back to do that. This is Smoking and Toasting. Alex Svenson from Cigar Page is our guest today. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. I just don't want to gloss over this too much. This Boulevard Brewing 6-glass quadruple, that's a fantastic beer.
It is.
It has got so much caramel and just molassesy goodness.
It's got
flavor.
the fruitiness that you get from the Belgian style beer. You get the bright kind of fruitiness too. This is just a great example of its style, a quadruple ale, and it's readily available most places if you have Boulevard.
It's a fairly easy one to find because they're a pretty well-known brewery and available all over the place. Alex Svenson is our guest from Cigar Page. Alex, first of all, love your site. If I didn't, I wouldn't have spent nearly as much money on Cigar Page.
I spent a lot of money
as I've spent. Yeah, so I feel like I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but I sort of feel like you owed us this interview, just based on the investment that Ian and I had made.
Boy, have we paid for it.
Yeah, exactly right. But all of that just shows, I think, how great of a site it is. And I will tell you, I probably should admit this. I click on almost every email and at least look. Right? I don't order every time, but that's usually because I just ordered. And it's just, I love it. It's like being a kid in a candy store sometimes, going through your emails and seeing what you have available for that. Is there a plan to spread your retail locations out across the country, or is it too early to even think about that, or you're building your first one? What's next?
I think retail expansion is definitely part of this strategy plan. But, like so many things with Cigar Page and what we do, there's a certain organic momentum, I think, that goes with it. And I think that this first location will really help us develop that blueprint for what it is. Because, again, I think the skill and challenge here is going to be capturing this brand that we've built into this physical manifestation. So it's definitely on the radar. Somebody told me that Houston's a great market, so I'm sure we're going to look over
Southeast
there.
side especially.
Yeah, I think you've heard that here. So, and honestly, I hope you will, because we would welcome you here. It would be great fun to be able to come to your shop and just hang out and smoke and buy things, and it's just, that's like Disneyland for us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It just absolutely is. Tell me what you think. You guys have come onto the scene. You've made a huge name for yourself in a relatively short time. I think your pricing has a lot to do with that. I think the overall vibe of your site has a lot to do with that. But obviously, cigars are becoming more expensive. What do you see for being a site that prides itself on being able to bring affordable deals to cigar lovers? What do you think the future has in store for us? Are cigars going to continue to escalate in price, you think, the same way that they have been over the past couple of years?
Absolutely. I mean, tobacco's going up as a commodity. I think, like with a lot of things, especially in the luxury segment throughout the pandemic, you saw, I think, pricing get a little out of control. I'm actually seeing a lot of the new releases that are coming out. People are kind of working their way back down, because I think they're seeing consumers want to down trade now. But the costs are going up. And I think if you're looking at a long horizon, the answer is yes. Now, at Cigar Page, how do we combat that? You told me that I was supposed to reveal our secrets.
Yes,
and I don't think you've really asked me any questions.
All right. This is it. This is
secret.
our last segment. What's the secret?
I want to make sure we get to it.
How are you able to offer these kind of deals?
The secret is this, guys. It's the value chain. We are working directly with the factories. If you look at the value chain of cigars, and I will give you the big secret, and I'm sure someone's going to put a hit out on me when I say this, but when it comes to manufacturing a cigar at a factory, every cigar costs no more than $1.50 to make. Period. That's the truth. Now,
even if it's really like specialized tobacco that's more valuable inherently?
Well, I mean, now you're talking about something maybe is limited and you can justify a higher cost. But if you're talking about the actual cost to plant a seed and pull the tobacco out of the ground, I will tell you this. I can't make you a long filler cigar cheaper than 60 cents, but it would be really hard for me to make you one that's going to cost more than $1.80 to make when it comes to materials.
Wow.
Those are marketing, packaging, and then you have the value chain, right? I mean, everybody's doubling their money through the value chain. The
Sure.
retailer, the manufacturer's doubling his money, the retailer doubling their money. You have a lot of, but when you get into the tail end of the value chain, you have a lot of things. You've got salesmen, you have bloated, marketing budgets and overhead. You have a box that's made out of camel bone sourced in, God only knows where, right? If we can stay on the front end of that value chain, we're always going to be able to deliver value. So when you ask me what the and that doesn't mean that a cigar lands in my warehouse for $1.50, guys. There's stuff that goes.
Oh yeah.
No,
Of course,
I get that.
But let's say that landed cost, is $4. Okay. But I'm not going to, we don't have the same overhead. We don't have the same number of middlemen in the middle. So we're always going to be able to provide you with. Certainly the branded stuff is always going to get a little bit more expensive, and things are always going to get more expensive. But I think a company like ours that's where we're positioned, for it. As prices go up, more and more people are going to find their way to us, because at the front end of that value chain, we're always going to be able to deliver a better value than anybody else.
I
So
also-
that's the secret.
I
That's
also
the
noticed
secret.
that-
There it is.
Sometimes you guys ship the actual boxes, and sometimes you guys are shipping in bundles or 5-packs that are put together, things like that. Is that a strategy to bring shipping costs down and things like that?
Shipping costs, but also just the cost of the box. Cigar box, I happen to know it well. I actually own a box factory. A wooden cigar box costs $10 to make. If you're talking about this value chain at $10, just the add-on and the markups that go there, that wooden box, $40 is what you're paying. When you buy your box cigars, $30, $40 of that is just the box.
And if you buy that special Oliva, it's even more, because that's the greatest box I've ever
That's
seen.
a beautiful box.
It's like, I want to store stuff in there. It's so good. So final question for you, Alex. One of the things, if there's two things in this world that I absolutely love, it's cigars and monkeys. And you guys chose a cigar smoking monkey for your mascot, for your branding. Where did that come from, and how did you know?
I got to be honest. I don't know where we needed a mascot. We needed a physical character.
Yeah, something.
Where
people
the
can
monkey
identify with.
came from, I don't remember. But I do remember, it was like our third or fourth year in business, we were having a kick-ass year. And we were sitting in a meeting, and somebody said, hey, there was this reach goal number that we all have. And wouldn't it be great if we could do, $20 million in revenue this year? I forget what the number was. And it was just this crazy reach goal. Yeah. And we looked at Keith and we said, you know what? If we hit this number, we have to get a monkey, a real monkey. And by God, we hit the number. And I'm still holding him to it because we didn't get our monkey.
I want there to be a monkey. I really do.
There has to be a monkey.
Actual
I know.
live monkey. I will just say, I love your stickers, the stuff that you include. I want to show you what I put on my phone. Can you see that in the camera, Terry?
Yeah.
This is one of the Cigar Page stickers, which is my favorite one that I've ever seen. It's a pie chart with 90% of the pie chart in blue and 10% in yellow. And it says, should I have a cigar right now? And the blue says yes. And the yellow says yes, but in yellow. That's my favorite cigar sticker of all time. I absolutely love it.
We have a million. We have a million of them. But we just put them everywhere. I got them all in my water bottle.
Yeah.
My laptop.
I love them.
Man.
I stick them everywhere. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate it. We want to have you back and go like a little more granular about the way you guys work with some of the cigar manufacturers on things like your Black Swan label. And there's so much more to ask you, but thank you for being such a good sport and hanging in with us for this interview. This has been super fun. Cigarpage.com is where to find them. And I'm going to tell you, if you do, you'll soon be broke like me. That's all I have
You're
to
going to
say.
love it. Sorry about your wallet.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
definitely invite me back. I'd love to come back. I don't recall you guys getting to the most overrated cigar, but maybe we can pocket that topic for the next time.
We'll
This
go,
happens.
We'll go back to it. I wanted to kind of give you a break. I didn't want you to like piss off any of your suppliers or vendors or.
If you guys have seen my prices, we're already pissing off. all the
well,
suppliers. Don't worry about that.
I gotcha. And look, I don't want to give anything away for the next time we talk, but the most overrated cigar brand, according to this article, rhymes with Spavidoff. So
that was going to be my guess.
Was that going to be it? Yeah. And you notice I didn't say the name Davidoff, because when I do, like I just did, we actually have to pay the Davidoff company. It's kind of like when you say Super Bowl and you have to pay the NFL. When you say Davidoff, you have to pay. So that's twice.
So
How
Keep
much am I getting for Penn Stand?
Oh, we'll work out a deal. We'll work out a deal, I promise you. Hey, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a part of Smoking and Toasting. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. And we'll be back next week with our barrel pick, the Smoking and Toasting O.H. Ingram barrel pick. We'll be tasting it again on next week's show and talking about where you can get it and how and why it's like the coolest thing to come along in a while. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. And as we like to say, cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.